Admiral Park Hyun-woo stood in the command center of Luna Base, watching the screens that showed thousands of alien ships moving toward Earth. The enemy fleet was so large it blocked out the stars. He had been a soldier for 30 years, but he had never seen anything like this. "Sir, the enemy count is now at 47,000 ships," reported Lieutenant Kim beside him. Her voice was steady, but Park could see the fear in her eyes. The three alien races had finally united against Earth. The Vorthak Empire brought their advanced weapons. The Kalani Dominion brought their war machines. The Nexari Collective brought their mind powers. Together, they had decided that humans were too dangerous to live. Park touched his communication device. "Captain Lee Da-eun, what is your status?" "Captain," Lee's voice came through the speaker. She was commanding Earth's orbital defense fleet somewhere above the moon. "We have 200 ships ready, Admiral. The enemy has us outnumbered by more than 200 to 1. Park closed his eyes for a moment. 200 human ships against nearly 50,000 alien vessels. It was not a battle. It was an execution. "Orders, Admiral?" Lee asked. "Fight as long as you can, Captain. Make them pay for every meter of space." "Understood, sir." Park cut the connection and looked at the tactical display. Red dots showed enemy ships spreading across the solar system like a disease. Earth's blue dots looked tiny and alone. Colonel Kim Tae-hyun walked up to the Admiral. His special forces had been preparing for ground combat, but everyone knew the aliens would never need to land troops. They would just burn Earth from space. "Admiral, my men are asking if we have any hidden weapons. Any secret plan?" Kim said quietly. Park shook his head. "What you see is what we have, Colonel. Earth Defense Command, the orbital fleet, and whatever missiles we can fire from the ground. That's it." But even as he said those words, Park felt something was wrong. For weeks he had received strange orders from Earth's government. Orders to move certain ships to specific locations. Orders to keep some officers in the dark about fleet movements. Orders that made no sense for a defensive battle. Dr. Choi Mi-young worked at her station nearby. She was supposed to be studying alien biology, but Park had noticed she spent most of her time on encrypted communications. When she thought no one was watching, she would check readings from deep space sensors. "Dr. Choi," Park called. She looked up, startled. "Yes, Admiral?" "What are you reading from the outer system sensors?" "Nothing important, sir. Just background radiation from Jupiter's moons." Park nodded, but he did not believe her. In 30 years of military service, he had learned to read people. Dr. Choi was lying about something. The first explosions lit up the dark side of Earth's moon. Captain Lee's fleet had engaged the alien advance ships. On the screens, Park watched human vessels fire their missiles and energy weapons. Some alien ships exploded, but for each alien ship destroyed, 3 human ships died. "Sir, Captain Lee is requesting backup," reported Lieutenant Kim. "We don't have backup to send," Park replied. The battle moved closer to Earth. Alien ships the size of cities fired weapons that could crack moons. Human ships dodged and weaved, trying to survive, long enough to fire back. It was brave, but it was hopeless. Park's communication device buzzed with an encrypted message. He read it quickly, then read it again. The message made no sense. "Signal detected from Sector 7 Alpha. Maintain current positions. Do not investigate." Sector 7 Alpha was empty space beyond Pluto. Nothing was out there. But as Park watched his tactical display, he saw something strange. The deep space sensors were picking up energy readings from that exact sector. Dr. Choi suddenly stood up from her station. "Admiral, I'm reading unusual gravitational fluctuations from the outer system." "What kind of fluctuations?" It's like something very large is moving out there. But our visual sensors show empty space." Colonel Kim frowned. "Could the aliens have ships hiding beyond our sensor range?" "No," Dr. Choi said quickly. "These readings are different. The energy signature is human." Park stared at her. "Human? That's impossible. We don't have any ships in the outer system." "According to our official records, no, sir." The way she said official records made Park's blood run cold. There were unofficial records, ships that existed but were not listed in any database he could access. Another explosion flashed on the screens. 3 more human ships died fighting an impossible battle. Captain Lee's voice came over the communication system. "Luna Base, this is Lee. We've lost 60% of our fleet. The aliens are moving past our position. They'll reach Earth's atmosphere in 4 hours." Park felt the weight of humanity's coming extinction, but Dr. Choi was still watching her deep space sensors with an expression he could not read. She looked almost hopeful. "Dr. Choi, what do you know that I don't?" Park asked directly. She met his eyes. "Admiral, some secrets are too important to share until the right moment. But I can tell you this. Humanity has more friends than our enemies realize." Before Park could ask what she meant, alarms began sounding throughout Luna Base. On the main screen, red warnings flashed. "Admiral, we're detecting massive energy signatures from multiple points in the outer system," Lieutenant Kim reported. "Whatever's out there, it's big, and it's moving toward the inner system." Park looked at the tactical display. The energy signatures were huge, but his sensors could not identify what was causing them. It was like looking at ghosts made of pure energy, moving through space faster than anything should be able to travel. "Sir?" Lieutenant Kim's voice was filled with confusion. "The energy signatures, they're broadcasting on human military frequencies." "That's impossible," Colonel Kim said. "We don't have anything that big." Dr. Choi smiled for the first time that day. "Colonel, you're right. We don't have anything that big, officially." Park felt his world shifting. For 30 years he had believed he knew Earth's capabilities. He had been wrong. The alien fleet continued its attack on Captain Lee's forces. Explosions filled the space around Earth as humanity's known defenders died one by one. But something else was happening in the darkness beyond Pluto. Something was coming. Park's communication device buzzed again. Another encrypted message. "Phase 1 complete. Begin Phase 2 on my signal." Phase 1? Phase 2? Park realized he was not commanding Earth's defense. He was commanding one part of a much larger plan. A plan no one had told him about. "Dr. Choi," he said slowly, "how long have you known?" "Known what, Admiral?" "That this battle was never about defending Earth. It was about something else entirely." She looked at him with sad eyes. "Admiral, sometimes the only way to reveal the truth is to let your enemies think they've already won." On the screens, the last of Captain Lee's fleet was falling back toward Earth. The alien invasion force followed, certain of their victory. Behind them, in the cold darkness of space, energy signatures that should not exist were moving into attack position. Park realized that Earth's defeat had indeed been expected, but not by the humans who had been planning this moment for longer than anyone knew. Captain Lee Da-yoon watched her last 30 ships retreat toward Earth's atmosphere. The alien fleet followed like hungry wolves. Thousands of enemy vessels filled the space around Earth, their weapons charging for the final attack that would end human civilization. "Captain, the aliens are breaking into celebration formations," reported her tactical officer. "They think they've won." Lee nodded grimly. According to everything she could see, they had won. Her fleet was destroyed. Earth's orbital defenses were gone. Nothing stood between the alien armada and humanity's home world. But then her sensors detected something impossible. "Captain, I'm reading energy signatures appearing throughout the system," her sensor officer called out. "But I can't see anything on visual." "Sensor malfunction?" Lee asked. "No, ma'am. The readings are consistent. Something big is out there, but our cameras show empty space." Lee frowned. In 15 years of space combat, she had never encountered anything like this. Energy without matter. Signals without sources. Suddenly, space itself seemed to ripple near her flagship. Reality twisted like water, and then something appeared where nothing had been before. The ship was unlike anything Lee had ever seen. It was sleek and black, shaped like a knife cutting through darkness. No nation's markings, no identification codes, just smooth metal that seemed to bend light around itself. "Unknown vessel, identify yourself," Lee transmitted. A voice answered immediately. It was speaking perfect Korean, but Lee did not recognize it. "Captain Lee, this is Commander Yoon Jae-ho of the Shadow Fleet vessel Silent Arrow. We're here to help." "Shadow Fleet? I've never heard of any Shadow Fleet." "That was the point, Captain. More ships began appearing throughout the system. They materialized from empty space like ghosts becoming solid. Each one was different in design, but all shared the same impossible ability to appear and disappear at will." Lee watched in amazement as dozens, then hundreds of these mystery ships surrounded the alien fleet. The aliens had noticed them too. Enemy communications were filled with confusion and growing panic. Commander Yoon's ship moved through space in ways that defied physics. It accelerated without visible engines. It turned without momentum. It seemed to exist partially in normal space and partially somewhere else. "Commander Yoon, what are your ships? Where did you come from?" Lee asked. "Long story, Captain. Right now, we need to coordinate our attack. Your retreat was perfect. You led the aliens exactly where we wanted them. My retreat was real. We were losing. Your surface retreat was real. Your real mission was to guide the enemy into our trap." Lee felt her understanding of the battle shift completely. Her desperate fight had not been a last stand. It had been part of a plan she knew nothing about. Lieutenant Han Sora worked at her station aboard the Silent Arrow. Her fingers moved across controls that operated technology Lee had never seen before. The ship's hull seemed to phase in and out of visibility. "Cloaking systems online," Han reported. "Dimensional anchors locked. Reality stable at 97%. Commander Yoon nodded. "Begin the attack. Show them what humanity really looks like when we stop pretending." The Shadow Fleet struck without warning. Ships that had been invisible suddenly appeared inside, alien formations. Weapons fired that seemed to ignore shields and armor. Alien vessels exploded before they could even turn to face their attackers. But the strangest part was how the Shadow Fleet ships fought. They would appear, fire, then vanish completely. When the aliens shot back, their weapons hit empty space. The human ships were attacking from somewhere the aliens could not reach. Dr. Nam In-ho watched the battle from his hidden command center. He was the man who had designed the technology that made the Shadow Fleet possible. For 20 years, he had worked in complete secrecy, building ships that could exist in multiple dimensions at once. "Phase variance holding steady," Nam reported to his team. "Our ships are maintaining 70% existence in normal space, 30% in parallel dimension. The aliens can see us when we want them to, but they can't hit us when we don't." The technology was based on discoveries humanity had made decades earlier. Ancient artifacts found in the outer system had taught them that space had layers. Most species lived in only one layer. Humans had learned to move between them. Nam's assistant asked, "Doctor, how long can we maintain this advantage?" "As long as we need to. The aliens don't even know parallel dimensions exist. To them, we're performing magic." The alien fleet tried to regroup and fight back, but they were fighting an enemy they could not understand. Shadow Fleet ships appeared behind alien vessels, fired devastating weapons, then vanished before return fire could hit them. Commander Yoon's Silent Arrow phased directly through an alien battleship's shields. The shields were designed to stop attacks from normal space. They could not stop something attacking from a parallel dimension. "Fire quantum disruptors," Yoon ordered. Lieutenant Han activated weapons that fired energy from folded space-time. The alien battleship's armor meant nothing against weapons that attacked from inside the ship's own structure. The massive vessel broke apart like it was made of paper. Throughout the system, the pattern repeated. Alien ships that had seemed invincible minutes earlier were being destroyed by enemies they could not see, could not hit, and could not understand. Lee watched from her damaged flagship as the tide of battle reversed completely. The alien fleet that had been celebrating their victory was now in full panic. Enemy ships tried to retreat, but Shadow Fleet vessels appeared in their path, blocking escape routes that led to normal space. "Commander Yoon," Lee transmitted, "your technology, where did it come from?" "Earth found some very old friends. Captain, friends who left us gifts before they moved on to higher dimensions. We've been learning to use those gifts for a very long time. The largest alien command ship tried to use its most powerful weapon against a Shadow Fleet destroyer, the energy beam that could crack planets passed harmlessly through the human ship, which existed mostly in parallel space during the attack. The destroyer's return fire was not so kind. Weapons that fired through folded reality struck the alien command ship from directions that did not exist in normal space. The massive vessel died instantly. Lee realized she was watching the end of the alien invasion. But more than that, she was watching the end of the galaxy's understanding of what humanity could do. "Commander, how many Shadow Fleet ships are there?" "Enough, Captain. We've been building in secret for 50 years. While the galaxy thought we were weak, we were becoming something they could never imagine." The alien retreat became a rout. Ships fled in every direction, but Shadow Fleet vessels followed them through dimensions the aliens did not know existed. There was no escape from an enemy that could appear anywhere instantly. Dr. Nam watched the readings from his command center. Dimensional stability holding across all vectors. The aliens are completely outmatched. They're fighting in one dimension against an enemy that controls three. The battle was over in 2 hours. 47,000 alien ships had been reduced to scattered debris. The Shadow Fleet had lost nothing. Lee stared at the tactical display, showing thousands of human ships that officially did not exist. Ships crewed by people who were supposed to be dead. Ships using technology that was supposed to be impossible. Commander Yoon. Who else knows about the Shadow Fleet? Everyone who needs to know, Captain. And now everyone who thought they could destroy humanity knows too. Lee looked at Earth, still blue and beautiful below them. The planet that had seemed doomed hours earlier was now protected by the most advanced fleet in the galaxy. A fleet that had been hiding in the shadows, waiting for the right moment to reveal itself. The Shadow Fleet had struck instead of Earth's defeat, and the galaxy would never be the same. Major Kang Soo-jin moved through the corridors of the alien command ship like a shadow. Her infiltration suit used the same dimensional technology as the Shadow Fleet, allowing her to phase partially out of normal space. To the alien crew, she was invisible. The Vorthak Empire's flagship was massive, filled with technology the galaxy considered the most advanced available. But as Kang planted her intelligence devices throughout the ship, she could not help but smile. The aliens had no idea how far behind they really were. She reached the ship's main computer core and activated her equipment. Within seconds, she was downloading every piece of data the Vorthak had collected about humanity. What she found made her pause. The aliens had been watching Earth for over 50 years. Their files contained detailed reports about human technology, military capabilities, and social development. But every single report was wrong. According to Vorthak intelligence, humans had developed basic spaceflight only recently. Earth's weapons were primitive. Human ships were slow and poorly armed. The entire species was weak and divided. Kang knew the truth was very different. She had been part of the Shadow Fleet for 10 years. She had seen humanity's real capabilities. The question was, how had Earth kept the truth hidden for so long? She found her answer in the oldest files. 53 years ago, humanity had discovered something in the outer system, something that changed everything. The report was written by a Vorthak spy who had been watching Earth's early space exploration. He described human ships finding a derelict vessel beyond Pluto. The spy had expected humans to announce their discovery to the galaxy. Instead, Earth went silent about the find. Official records showed the mission had failed. The discovery was never reported. But the spy's instruments detected massive energy readings from the area for months afterward. Kang downloaded the complete file and prepared to leave. But first, she wanted to see what the aliens were planning now that their invasion had failed so spectacularly. She moved to the ship's command center, staying in partial dimensional phase. The alien officers were in chaos. Their sensors showed thousands of human ships that should not exist. Their weapons could not hit targets that phased in and out of reality. The Vorthak commander was speaking to his allies through a secure communication link. Kang activated her translator and listened. "This is impossible," the Vorthak said. "Our intelligence reports showed humans with primitive technology. How do they have dimensional phase ships?" The Kalani Dominion commander replied, Our spies have been watching them for decades. They never showed capability like this. Then our spies were being deceived, the Nexari collective representative added. But how could an entire species maintain such a massive deception for so long? Kang had to admire her people's achievement. For 50 years, Earth had convinced 3 of the galaxy's major powers that humanity was weak and backward, all while secretly developing technology that made those powers look like children playing with toys. She moved closer to hear more of the conversation. "We need to understand their phase technology," the Vorthak commander said. "If humans can build ships that exist in multiple dimensions, they're more dangerous than we ever imagined." "More dangerous than the ancient races?" asked the Kalani. "Possibly. The ancients disappeared into higher dimensions millions of years ago, but humans are still here, still in our reality, and they have dimensional technology. That makes them the most dangerous species in the current galaxy." Kang smiled. The aliens were beginning to understand, but it was too late. Earth had already won. She left the command ship and returned to her own vessel. Captain O Dong-wook was waiting for her report. His dreadnought, Phantom Destroyer, was one of the Shadow Fleet's most powerful ships. "What did you learn, Major?" O asked. "The aliens have been spying on us for 50 years, sir, but they've been seeing exactly what we wanted them to see." "Explain." Kang showed him the downloaded files. Every piece of intelligence they gathered about humanity was carefully planted. Our primitive ships, our weak weapons, our divided government. All of it was performance art designed to make them underestimate us, O nodded. "And while they thought we were weak, we were building the Shadow Fleet." "Yes, sir. But there's more. I found references to the original discovery that started all this." Kang pulled up the oldest files. The story they told was incredible, even to someone who knew Earth secrets. 53 years ago, a human exploration ship had found a derelict vessel in the Kuiper Belt. The ship was ancient beyond imagination, built by a species that had transcended normal spacetime millions of years earlier. Instead of announcing the find, Earth's governments made a decision that changed human history. They would study the alien technology in secret. They would pretend to be a normal, primitive species while secretly learning to manipulate reality itself. The ancient ship's computers were still partially functional, Kang explained. They contained instructions for dimensional manipulation, reality anchoring, and spacetime folding. Technologies that most species never discover. "And we used that knowledge to build the Shadow Fleet," O said. "More than that, sir. We used it to build an entire parallel civilization." Kang showed him the most classified information she had found. Earth did not just have a secret fleet. They had secret colonies, secret research stations, and secret factories. All of them existing partially outside normal space, invisible to the galaxy's observation. Engineer Bae Young-soo had been part of the original team that studied the ancient ship. Now in his 70s, he had spent most of his adult life reverse engineering technology that most species would consider impossible. In his hidden laboratory, Bae worked on improvements to the dimensional phase drives, the technology that allowed Shadow Fleet ships to exist in multiple realities at once was based on principles the ancient ship had taught humanity. The ancients called it reality threading, Bae explained to his assistant. Most matter exists in only one-dimensional layer, but with the right energy fields you can spread matter across multiple layers simultaneously. Is that how our ships can appear and disappear? Exactly. We shift most of the ship's mass into parallel dimensions, leaving just enough in normal space to interact with the universe. When we want to hide, we shift completely into parallel space. When we want to attack, we shift back. Bae looked at the readings from the recent battle. Shadow Fleet ships had performed perfectly, phasing through alien weapons and appearing inside enemy formations at will. "The aliens will try to understand our technology," he said. "But they're missing the fundamental knowledge base. It would take them centuries to develop what we learned from the ancient ship." Back on Captain O's dreadnought, the command crew was preparing for the next phase of the operation. The invasion had been repelled, but Earth's strategy went far, beyond simple defense, sir, his tactical officer reported. We're receiving orders from Fleet Command. Operation Revelation is moving to Phase 3. O smiled. Phase 3 meant it was time to show the galaxy the full extent of humanity's capabilities. Set course for the Vorthak home system, he ordered. Engage dimensional phase drives. The Phantom Destroyer shifted into parallel space and accelerated beyond the speed of light. Unlike the aliens' crude faster-than-light drives, Shadow Fleet vessels could travel instantly between any 2 points in the galaxy. Within minutes, they emerged from dimensional phase in orbit around the Vorthak Empire's capital world. The local defense fleet scrambled to respond, but they were facing technology they could not comprehend. O's ship existed primarily in parallel space, making it invisible to Vorthak sensors. When their weapons fired, the energy passed harmlessly through the spaces between dimensions. Open a communication channel to the planet's surface, O ordered. The Vorthak government leaders appeared on his screen, their alien faces showing fear and confusion. This is Captain O Dongwook of the Earth Shadow Fleet, he said calmly. We are here to deliver a message. How did you get here so quickly? The Vorthak leader demanded. Our fleet just left your system hours ago. Time and distance mean different things when you control dimensional space, O replied. Your invasion failed because you never understood what humanity really is. What are you? We are the species you tried to destroy because you thought we were weak. We are the civilization that has been watching you for 50 years while you watched us. We are your future rulers. The transmission ended. O's ship phased back into dimensional space and returned to Earth, leaving the Vorthak to contemplate their new reality. The galaxy's understanding of humanity had changed forever. The weak species they had tried to eliminate was actually the most advanced civilization they had ever encountered. And this was only the beginning of Earth's revelation. Admiral C.O. Wu Jin stood on the bridge of the reality's edge, watching as the last alien resistance crumbled across the galaxy. Her command ship existed in 7 dimensions simultaneously, making it the most advanced vessel ever built by any known species. 3 weeks had passed since the failed invasion of Earth. In that time, the Shadow Fleet had appeared at every major alien world, demonstrating humanity's new position as the galaxy's dominant power. What had begun as Earth's expected defeat had become the aliens' total surrender. Admiral, we're receiving surrender requests from the remaining colony worlds, reported her communications officer. That makes all 3 Alliance members fully defeated. CO nodded. The galactic coalition that had tried to destroy humanity no longer existed. In its place, scattered alien governments begged for mercy from the species they had tried to eliminate. Any word from General Moon's ground operations? Yes, ma'am. The General reports complete success on all targeted worlds. General Moon Kai Biome had led the most impossible military operations in galactic history. His Shadow Fleet ground forces could phase directly through any defense, appearing behind enemy lines as if they had teleported through solid matter. On the Kalani homeworld, Moon soldiers had materialized inside the government's most secure bunkers. Their weapons fired energy that passed through conventional shields like they were made of air. Within hours, the planet's leadership had surrendered unconditionally. The aliens still don't understand what they're fighting, Moon reported to Admiral CO through their dimensional communication link. They keep trying to use normal tactics against forces that exist partially outside normal space. That's exactly what we wanted, General. Keep them confused while we secure their surrender. Moon's forces were unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. Earth had spent 50 years training soldiers to fight in multiple dimensions. They could phase through walls, appear inside enemy positions, and use weapons that struck targets from impossible angles. Dr. Shin Hai-jin worked at her station aboard the Reality's Edge, monitoring the deployment of humanity's most secret weapon, reality anchors. These devices could lock sections of space-time, preventing enemy ships from escaping through their faster-than-light drives. Doctor, how many systems are now under reality anchor control? Admiral Seo asked. 47 major systems, Admiral. Once a reality anchor is deployed, nothing can leave that system without our permission. We've effectively trapped every important alien world in normal space. The reality anchors were based on the most advanced technology humanity had learned from the ancient ship. By manipulating the fundamental structure of space-time, they could create zones where only Shadow Fleet vessels could operate freely. Shin watched her readings as another reality anchor activated around a Vorthak military base. The aliens are completely cut off from each other now. They can't coordinate resistance because they can't travel between their worlds. Admiral Co walked to the main viewing screen, which showed a real-time map of the galaxy. Blue markers indicated systems under human control. There were no longer any red enemy markers. Communications: open a channel to all Shadow Fleet vessels. Channel open, Admiral. All Shadow Fleet commands, this is Admiral SEO. Phase 4 of Operation Revelation is now complete. The galaxy is secure. Begin transition to occupation protocol. Throughout the galaxy, Shadow Fleet vessels received their new orders. The war was over. Now came the harder task of ruling the species that had tried to destroy them. Captain Ju Min-ho commanded a diplomatic squadron that was visiting alien worlds to establish humanity's new government. His ships would phase into orbit around each planet, their dimensional technology serving as a constant reminder of Earth's overwhelming advantage. Captain, his diplomatic officer reported, the Nexari Collective has agreed to all our terms. They're dissolving their government and accepting direct human administration. Ju was not surprised. The Nexari had been the most cooperative since their defeat. Their telepathic abilities had allowed them to sense the true extent of human capabilities. During the war? What about their psychic defense networks? Shut down voluntarily, sir. They realized their mental powers were useless against enemies they couldn't locate in normal space. Ju's ship phased back into normal space above the Nexari capital city. Below them, millions of aliens looked up at vessels that could appear and disappear at will. It was a powerful symbol of humanity's new dominance. Dr. An So-young worked in her laboratory aboard one of Earth's hidden space stations. She was developing the communication technology that would allow humanity to govern a galaxy-spanning empire instantly. The dimensional communication network is complete, she reported to Earth's government. We can now send messages instantaneously to any point in the galaxy, regardless of distance. The technology worked by sending signals through parallel dimensions where the normal laws of physics did not apply. While alien species were limited by the speed of light, humanity could communicate across the entire galaxy in real time. This gives us a decisive advantage in governance, An explained. We can coordinate activities across thousands of worlds, instantly, while our subjects are still trapped by conventional communication delays. Back on Earth, the planet that had seemed doomed just weeks earlier was transforming into the capital of a galactic empire. Ships from across the Shadow Fleet returned home, their crews ready to take on new roles as administrators of conquered worlds. Admiral Park Hyun-woo, who had watched the invasion begin from Luna Base, now found himself appointed as Earth's first Galactic Defense Coordinator. The man who had expected to die defending his homeworld was now responsible for protecting hundreds of alien species. Admiral, Dr. Choi Mi-young approached him with a smile. I have the final intelligence reports from our defeated enemies. What did we learn? That our deception was even more successful than we planned. The aliens had been preparing to invade Earth for over 20 years. They were absolutely certain we were primitive and helpless. Park reviewed the files. Every alien intelligence service had completely missed humanity's true capabilities. Their spies had seen exactly what Earth wanted them to see: a young species, with limited technology and divided leadership. While they were planning our destruction, we were building the most advanced civilization in galactic history, Park said. Yes, sir. And now they're learning what it means to underestimate humanity. The transformation was complete. Earth's orbital space filled with Shadow Fleet vessels as they returned from their conquest of the galaxy. The ships that had been hidden for 50 years now moved openly, their dimensional phase drives allowing them to appear anywhere instantly. Citizens of Earth watched in amazement as their planet became the center of a galactic empire. The species that had been dismissed as primitive now controlled every major world in known space. Admiral Co received reports from across the galaxy. Shadow Fleet garrisons were established on key worlds. Alien governments had been replaced with human administrators. The three-species alliance that had tried to destroy Earth no longer existed. Admiral, her intelligence officer, reported, "We're detecting some remaining resistance cells in the outer sectors." "Expected," CO replied. "Deploy pursuit squadrons. Use standard phase protocols." "Yes, ma'am. Should we offer surrender terms?" "Of course. We're not conquerors. We're liberators. The aliens are being freed from the burden of self-government. Shadow Fleet pursuit squadrons phased into dimensional space and spread across the galaxy, hunting down the last pockets of resistance. Their quarry had nowhere to hide. Humanity's sensors could detect activity across multiple dimensions simultaneously. The war that was supposed to end human civilization had instead made humanity the master of all known intelligent life. The Shadow Fleet's revelation had changed the balance of power in the galaxy permanently. Dr. Nam In-ho, the architect of humanity's dimensional technology, stood in his laboratory reviewing the success of his life's work. The ships he had designed, using ancient alien knowledge, had conquered the galaxy without losing a single vessel. "We've achieved something unprecedented," he told his team. "A species has gone from being targeted for extinction to galactic dominance in less than a month." "What's next for the Shadow Fleet, Doctor?" Nam looked at his star charts, which now showed human bases throughout known space. "Now we explore beyond the galaxy. If there are other species out there who think humans are weak, they need to learn the truth as well." The galaxy's new order was established. Humanity ruled from Earth, protected by the most advanced fleet ever assembled. The species that had been expected to die had instead become immortal through conquest. The Shadow Fleet had struck, and the galaxy would never recover from the impact. Fleet Admiral Lim Sang-ho stood in the Grand Conference Hall aboard the Dimensional Sovereign, Earth's new mobile capital ship. Before him, the leaders of three former galactic powers knelt in surrender. The ceremony was being broadcast across the galaxy, ensuring every alien species understood the new order. The Vorthak Emperor, once ruler of the galaxy's most technologically advanced empire, could barely lift his head to look at his human conqueror. Beside him, the Kalani war chief and the Nexari Collective Prime trembled as they waited to learn their fate. "Rise," Lim commanded in perfect translation. The aliens had been forced to learn human languages as part of their surrender terms. The three leaders stood shakily. Behind them, representatives from hundreds of worlds watched in silence. The galactic community that had existed for thousands of years was ending. In its place, humanity's galactic protectorate was being born. "For 50 years, your species believed you were the masters of this galaxy," Lim began. "You dismissed humanity as primitive. You plotted our extinction. You gathered the largest invasion fleet in recorded history to destroy our homeworld." The alien leaders said nothing. What could they say? Their overwhelming force had been crushed by an enemy they had never understood. Today, you learn the truth. Humanity has been the dominant species in this galaxy for decades. We allowed you to believe you were in control while we prepared for this moment. Lim gestured, and the hall's main display showed images from across the galaxy. Shadow Fleet bases that had existed in dimensional space for years, human monitoring stations that had been watching every major alien world, technology that made the galaxy's previous achievements look like children's toys. Every decision your governments made, we observed. Every military plan you developed, we countered. Every attempt to spy on humanity was fed information we wanted you to have. The Vorthak Emperor found his voice. How did you achieve such deception?" Lim smiled coldly. "We learned from teachers you never knew existed. Ancient species that transcended your understanding millions of years ago left us gifts. While you fought over territory and resources, we learned to manipulate reality itself." Captain Ju Min-ho entered the hall to deliver his report. His diplomatic missions to alien homeworlds had been completely successful. "Admiral, all major systems have accepted direct human administration. Resistance has ended on every world we've contacted." "Casualties?" "Minimal, sir. Most alien governments surrendered when they realized fighting was hopeless." Lim nodded with satisfaction. Humanity had conquered the galaxy without becoming monsters. The aliens were defeated, but they would be allowed to live under human protection. Dr. An So-young's voice came through the dimensional communication system. Admiral, the Galactic Administration Network is fully operational. We can now govern 500 worlds with the same efficiency Earth governs one. Excellent, Doctor. Begin implementing the integration protocols. The integration protocols were humanity's plan for transforming galactic civilization. Alien species would be educated about human values. Their aggressive tendencies would be redirected toward peaceful pursuits. Wars between species would become impossible under human supervision. Lim turned back to the defeated alien leaders. You have a choice. Accept your place in humanity's protectorate and your species will be protected and guided toward a better future. Resist, and you will be removed from positions where you can cause harm. The Nexari Collective Prime stepped forward. Her telepathic abilities had shown her the true extent of human capabilities during the war. We accept human rule, she said quietly. Our minds touched yours during combat. We know you are beyond our understanding. The Kalani war chief nodded reluctantly. My warriors fought bravely, but they fought enemies who existed partially outside reality. We cannot oppose such power. Only the Vorthak Emperor hesitated. His empire had been built on technological superiority. Admitting human dominance meant accepting that everything he believed was wrong. Your technology, he said finally. Where did it truly come from? Lim decided the conquered species deserved to know the full truth. 53 years ago, humanity discovered a derelict ship in our outer system. The vessel belonged to a species that had transcended normal space-time millions of years before your empires existed. The ancients, the Emperor whispered. Every galactic species had legends about the mysterious race that had vanished into higher dimensions. The ancients left us their knowledge. We spent 5 decades learning to use it. While you developed conventional technology, we mastered dimensional manipulation, reality anchoring, and space-time folding. But why the deception? Why let us believe you were weak? Because we needed you to reveal your true nature. By threatening humanity, you showed the galaxy that the old order was based on aggression and domination. Our victory proves that a better way is possible. General Moon Kibiom arrived to report on the final military operations. His Shadow Fleet ground forces had secured every important military installation in the galaxy. Admiral, all alien weapon systems are under our control. Their armies have been disbanded. Military production has been converted to peaceful purposes. Resistance movements? None of significance. Most alien populations are cooperating willingly. They've seen what human technology can do. They prefer peace under our protection to war against impossible odds. The ceremony continued as Lim formally established the Galactic Protectorate. Each alien leader was required to sign documents transferring authority to humanity. Their signatures made Earth's dominance legally binding under galactic law, but the most important part of the ceremony was symbolic. Lim activated a dimensional broadcast that would reach every inhabited world simultaneously. Across the galaxy, billions of aliens watched as their former rulers submitted to human authority. Citizens of the galaxy, Lim announced, today marks the beginning of a new age. The era of war between species is ending. Under human guidance, you will learn to live in peace. The broadcast showed images of Shadow Fleet vessels appearing in orbit around hundreds of worlds. The demonstrations were peaceful, but unmistakable. Humanity now had the power to appear anywhere in the galaxy instantly. Dr. Shin Hyejin monitored the reality anchors that surrounded every major system. The devices ensured that no alien government could flee to distant stars or attempt to rebuild their military power in secret. All dimensional locks are stable, she reported. No unauthorized faster-than-light travel is possible anywhere in the controlled sectors. Admiral Park Hyunwoo, who had expected to die defending Earth just months earlier, now oversaw the integration of alien military personnel into human service. Former enemies were being retrained as peacekeepers and explorers. Many of the alien officers are adapting well to human command structures, he reported. They respect strength and our technological superiority is undeniable. Any problems with the transition? Some cultural conflicts, but nothing serious. Most aliens are relieved that the constant warfare between species has ended. As the ceremony concluded, Lim looked out at the representatives of hundreds of worlds. Species that had been enemies for millennia were now united under human leadership. The galaxy's resources would be used for exploration and development instead of destruction. The dimensional sovereign phased back into normal space above Earth. Below them, humanity's homeworld gleamed blue and beautiful, no longer threatened by alien invasion. Instead, Earth had become the capital of the most powerful empire in galactic history. In his private quarters, Lim reviewed the complete transformation that had taken place. 6 months ago, Earth had been seen as a primitive world with limited potential. Today, humanity controlled every major civilization in known space. The deception had been perfect. For 50 years, Earth had convinced the galaxy that humans were weak while secretly developing technology that made them unbeatable. The invasion that was meant to destroy humanity had instead revealed humanity's true nature. Alien species that had dismissed humans as insignificant now competed to serve in the Galactic Protectorate. Former enemies sought human approval and guidance. The species that had been targeted for extinction had become the galaxy's protectors and rulers. Dr. Nam In-ho sent his final report on the Shadow Fleet's performance. All systems performed beyond specifications. We achieved complete victory without losing a single vessel or revealing the full extent of our capabilities. What's our next priority, Doctor? Exploration beyond the galaxy, Admiral. If there are other galactic communities out there, they need to understand that humanity is not to be underestimated. The Galactic Protectorate was established, but humanity's ambitions extended beyond the current galaxy. Shadow Fleet exploration vessels were already preparing for journeys to distant star clusters, carrying the message that Earth would no longer tolerate threats to human civilization. As the dimensional sovereign settled into orbit around Earth, Lim reflected on humanity's incredible transformation. The species that aliens had expected to defeat easily had instead conquered them all. The Shadow Fleet's revelation had changed the nature of galactic civilization forever. Earth's defeat had indeed been expected by every alien species. But instead of humanity's destruction, the galaxy had witnessed humanity's rise to absolute power.